Did you know that a staggering percentage of 25-year-olds have basically set their financial stability on fire using only a fistful of credit card debt and the flickering flame of a poorly chosen investment app? It's true. And while the specifics of that statistic are, let's be honest, completely made up for comedic effect, the underlying point remains. Young people make money mistakes, lots of them. And look, I get it. When you're young, the world is your oyster, an oyster that apparently charges 20% interest on pearls. But the truth is, the financial choices we make in our 20s can have a ripple effect that impacts our entire lives. So we're here to talk about those choices. Specifically, we're diving deep into the 5 money mistakes that even millionaires wish they could go back and punch their younger selves in the face for making. Think of this as a preemptive strike against your future financial regret. You're welcome. All right, let's talk about overspending. It's the financial equivalent of going to an all-you-can-eat buffet after a CrossFit workout. You know you're gonna regret it later. We've all been there. That dopamine rush from a new pair of shoes. The fleeting sense of power that comes with ordering everything on the menu. It feels good in the moment, right? But then the credit card bill arrives, like a financial hangover from your spending spree. The problem with overspending is that it's a slippery slope. One minute you're treating yourself to a $5 latte, and the next you're justifying a $500 pair of noise-canceling headphones because you deserve it. Newsflash. You don't. Not when you're living paycheck to paycheck, and your idea of an emergency fund is a crumpled $10 bill you found in your sock drawer. So, how do you avoid falling into the overspending trap? Well, first, you need a budget. I know the B word. It conjures up images of spreadsheets and deprivation, but I promise it's not that scary. A budget is just a plan for your money. Think of it like this. If you were going on a road trip, you wouldn't just hop in the car and start driving without a map, would you? Unless you enjoy getting hopelessly lost and sleeping in your car, which, hey, no judgment. But for the rest of us, a budget is that map for our money. And speaking of maps, let's talk about mindful spending. Okay, let's talk about investing, which can make even the most financially savvy person want to cry. It's intimidating, it's confusing, and it often feels like everyone else is getting rich except for you. But investing is crucial for your financial future, even if it seems abstract now. Think of it like this. Every dollar you invest is like a tiny employee working tirelessly to make you more money. They don't ask for raises, and they definitely don't steal pens from the office. Now, I know what you're thinking. Terrell, I'm barely scraping by. How am I supposed to invest when I can barely afford to keep the lights on? And that's a valid concern, but you don't need to be Warren Buffett to start investing. There are simple strategies for beginners, like index funds, which are like buying a tiny piece of every company in the stock market. It's diversification for the financially challenged, and a great way to start without risking it all. The key takeaway is this: the earlier you start, the better. Time is your greatest ally, thanks to compound interest. Compound interest is interest earning interest, and it's how small amounts can grow into significant sums over time. Chapter 3. Okay, let's talk about credit scores, which are basically like your financial GPA. They're a numerical representation of your creditworthiness, and they can have a huge impact on your financial life, from getting approved for an apartment to securing a loan with a decent interest rate. Now you might be thinking, Terrell, I'm young and free. I don't need credit. I'll just pay for everything in cash like a rugged individualist. And while I applaud your enthusiasm for financial independence, Ignoring your credit score is a mistake you don't want to make. A good credit score is like a golden ticket to financial opportunities. It can help you get lower interest rates on loans, which can save you thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. It can also make it easier to rent an apartment, get approved for a credit card with better rewards, and even land a job in some cases. On the other hand, a bad credit score can feel like a financial scarlet letter. It can make it incredibly difficult to get approved for loans, rent an apartment, or even get a decent job. And if you do manage to get approved for a loan with a bad credit score, you'll likely be stuck with sky-high interest rates that can quickly turn into a financial nightmare. So, how do you build and maintain a good credit score? Well, it's actually not as complicated as you might think. Start by paying your bills on time, every time. This is the single most important factor that contributes to your credit score. Next, try to keep your credit utilization low. Chapter 4. Alright, let's talk about emergency funds, which are basically like financial insurance policies for life's unexpected curveballs. Because let's face it, life is unpredictable, and sometimes it throws us curveballs that make us wish we had invested in a really good helmet. These curveballs can come in many forms: a sudden job loss, a medical emergency, a car breaking down in the middle of nowhere. The possibilities are endless, and they rarely happen at a convenient time. Without an emergency fund, these unexpected events can quickly derail your financial progress and send you spiraling into debt. And trust me, debt is not a hole you want to dig yourself out of. It's like trying to escape quicksand while carrying a backpack full of bricks. So, how much should you have in your emergency fund? The general rule of thumb is to have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses saved up. Now, I know that might seem like a daunting amount, especially if you're living paycheck to paycheck. But here's the thing, you don't have to build your emergency fund overnight. Start by setting aside a small amount each month, even if it's just $20 or $50. You can gradually increase this amount as you get more comfortable with your budget. Chapter 5. Get-rich-quick schemes. They're like the seductive sirens of the financial world, promising easy money and financial freedom with minimal effort. And just like those mythical sirens, they're usually too good to be true. From multi-level marketing schemes that prey on your social network, to shady investment opportunities that promise astronomical returns, get-rich-quick schemes come in all shapes and sizes. But they all have one thing in common: they rarely, if ever, deliver on their promises. Let me tell you a story about a guy named Gary. Gary was a hardworking dude who was tired of living paycheck to paycheck. He dreamed of early retirement, of sipping margaritas on a beach somewhere while his money made more money. One day, Gary stumbled across an online ad for a guaranteed investment opportunity that promised to turn $1,000 into $10,000 in just a few weeks. It sounded too good to be true, but Gary was desperate for a financial breakthrough. He threw caution to the wind and invested his hard-earned money. Spoiler alert, it was a scam. So, there you have it. 5 money mistakes that even millionaires wish they could go back and undo. From overspending and ignoring credit scores to falling for get-rich-quick schemes, these mistakes can have a significant impact on your financial well-being, both in the short term and in the long run. But the good news is that awareness is half the battle. By understanding these common financial pitfalls, you can take steps to avoid them and make more informed decisions with your money. Remember, personal finance is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about making consistent, responsible choices that will set you up for financial success over the long term. Now, I know you're all eager to go out there and conquer the world of personal finance, but before you do, I want to hear from you. What are some of the biggest money mistakes you've made? Share your stories in the comments below, because let's face it, we can all learn from each other's financial faux pas. And, hey, who knows? Your story might just save someone else from making the same mistake. And for even more tips on how to achieve financial success, be sure to check out this video that's popping up on your screen right now. It's full of even more helpful advice that will have you managing your money like a pro in no time.